Good morning. This week we discussed the idea of self-empowerment that comes from Bitachon, the idea that nobody can harm us, the idea that we get an incredible level of peace of mind, and we started with the first advantage over the chemist, that the chemist still needs certain ingredients to get his ability, to get his talent, to get to the outcome where he wants to go, but the Baal Bitachon never needs any ingredients, all he needs is his Bitachon. Now, I would like to review this week with 2 points. The first point is that in order to really internalize this, a person needs 3 things. A person needs practice, a person needs repetition, and a person needs effort. These are the 3 things that get us to a point where we can really internalize all these ideas to get to a state of mind where we really have that peace and that tranquility, and that we're not concerned about what other people might say, might think, or might do to us. Incredibly, we know that the Rambam tells us that if somebody has $100 and he has the option to give this $100 to a single person or to 100 people, the answer that the Rambam says and the Psak Halacha that the Rambam gives is that he should rather give it to 100 different individuals. And the reason for that is because that practice of giving is something that will internalize the idea of tzedakah within the person. And this is really what we need to do with Bitachon. We need to practice it and internalize it and repeat it again and again and again, and of course put in the effort, which is the underlying theme of this podcast in the first place. Every day, a little bit, again and again and again, until we really come to a point of internalizing this. And we will finish this week off with a story that the Kadmonim bring about a fellow that went to his Rebbe and he asked him if he can please teach him the language of the animals. And his Rebbe pushed him away, but the person kept on begging, so he finally taught him the language of the animals. And what happened was that the first day he went out and he heard one of his animals crying, and they were talking to each other that there was a gzera, that his oxes are going to die. And of course he went and he sold them. And then the next time he heard the chickens crying, and they were crying that they were going to die, so he sold that. And then he heard that there's going to be a drought and that his fields are going to die, so he sold that. And he kept on thinking how smart he was with his decision to understand the language of the animals, so this way he was able to save himself. And then in the end, the final time, he heard his animals crying that their master, that he himself was going to die. He went back to his Rebbe and he said, "Rebbe, what should I do?" And he told him, "I told you, I didn't want you to learn the language, because of course Min HaShamayim, they tried saving you from this gezerah of death, because they wanted to take the animals, they wanted to take your fields, but you kept on thinking they are outsmarting HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and now there's nothing to do." That is the idea of Bitachon. Bitachon is not that we rely on Hashem when He does what we want Him to do. Bitachon is that we rely that Hashem knows what's best for us, and no matter how things seem to us, we still remember and rely on Him to do everything that's best for our ultimate goal. And of course, the only way to remember that and internalize that is if we remember that what's going to be written on our matzever is not I had a good business, is not that I knew how to run a grocery and so forth and so forth. What's going to be written, what we want it to be written, is that I was a good Eved Hashem. I served Hashem to the best of my abilities, and the only way to get there, not the best way, the only way to get there is when someone puts his reliance, his security, his bitachon in Hashem. Have a wonderful Shabbos.